Hello, YouTube. This is Patrick Coffin with a hangout session to explain what Coffin Nation is and why it might be for you. I host the Patrick Coffin Show, which is an international podcast heard in over 100 countries. The sweet spot is faith and culture. We talk about the things that matter, the lasting things of life. We talk about with influencers like Tucker Carlson, Milo Yiannopoulos, yes, Milo Yiannopoulos, composer Morton Lauridsen, screenwriter and Daily Wire podcast host Andrew Clavin, 101 shows already. And last summer, my wife and I launched a membership site called Coffin Nation. You can find out more about that at coffinnation.com. That is the site that connects you with the what's happening? Are we still on?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'll just wait.
You are. Let's get going.
Little technical glitch
No,
here.
it's not. It's going.
Okay, good.
I want to see something.
Very good. So coffinnation.com, that's the spot to go. What do you get? What is Coffin Nation? Well, it's a membership site for culture builders. And most of them are Catholic, not all. We're all rowing in the same direction. We want to transform ourselves, our marriages, our families, our spheres of influence. And that has a ripple effect outward to the macro. We cannot change Pope Francis. We cannot change Donald Trump. We cannot change any political or ecclesial leader. We can't even change our wives and our dogs and our kids. What we can change is the person in the mirror. So Coffin Nation offers 3 levels of engagement. I'm going to go through what they mean in a moment, the pricing of each level, and the benefit for you. I myself have invested in mentors, coaches, and teachers. I did not go to business school, so I know the value of getting connected with mentors. And that's what all of my guests are. They're essentially mentors. So most people do not trust the media. All right, we've got this culture that's been hijacked. If you look at shows from the 1960s and 70s that I grew up watching, Brady Bunch, The Munsters, Andy Griffith, Chips, The Love Boat, Fantasy Island, all those shows, those sweet, innocent-hearted shows, they're gone. They're not making shows like that anymore. The culture is definitely tilted, shifted after the 1960s began to plant seeds of the sexual revolution and so on. It's a very different world. And a lot of people are asking the question, am I happy with my legacy? What legacy am I leaving my kids and my grandkids? And you cannot create a legacy alone. You can only create a legacy in the context of a community. We belong to each other. You know, Jesus never sent the apostles out one by one, ever. It was always 2 by 2 minimum. So Coffin Nation offers a chance to enjoy connectivity the day you start, grow in commitment. All the members that I've interacted with so far, and I love reaching out to them, and we have a lot of fun inside the closed Facebook page. They're into commitment. They want to be all in. They want to, sacrifice for the pearl of great price, because there's a lot at stake now. This is a very perilous time. These are crazy times in which we live, and we need support and encouragement. Sometimes we need correction. Sometimes we need to be reminded of what the bottom line is and what is at stake. So the media industry, it wins hearts and minds. We all know this. Most Americans, however, don't trust the media. The Pew Research Center showed last year that 1/3 of Americans, 29%, according to this survey, think that the media generally gets the facts straight. That's only 29%. So you put that the other way. That means 71% of Americans do not trust the media. The media is filtered through a very narrow left-wing political agenda. Certain facts are omitted, certain facts are emphasized, and in fact, what even qualifies as newsworthy gets filtered through the oligarchs who run the alphabet. I'm speaking particularly of television right now, but also the usual suspects, the Boston Globe, the LA Times, the San Diego Tribune, the Chicago Trib, the New York Times, all of the alphabet soup news, cable news outlets. They're all basically on the same Democratic talking point. And this is why independent media is so important. It's so important to get your news from unfiltered, unbiased reporting. Now, I definitely have a bias. My bias is in favor of the truth. I want to know the truth of things. I want to talk about the priestly abuse scandal, even though it's embarrassing, even though it makes me wince. It's true. One of my guests is Dr. Lee Pottles, who wrote a book in 2008 that nobody believed. Everybody thought he had some kind of axe to grind, and he was exaggerating. It's called sacrilege, sexual abuse in the Catholic Church. Well, every single page of that book has come true, if not gotten worse. So it's important to go there. At coffinnation.com, our motto is, we go there. Sometimes the most important truths are the ones that are difficult to accommodate, difficult to talk about. They make you wince, they make you uncomfortable. We say, tough, get over it. Sometimes what's at stake is more important than our feelings. If your guiding principle in life is that you don't want your feelings hurt, you're not going to get anywhere. As our grandparents used to say, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So I know how this feels. You know, I have a family. I know what it's like to live your faith in a culture that's more and more hostile to the Christian faith. That's not me, by the way. No stuntmen were harmed in the filming of that photograph. I know what it's like to have your views ignored, derided, shamed, quarantined by the mainstream media. It's hard to know who to trust. It's hard to know exactly where to turn when the church is being attacked. And meanwhile, in some ways, the church is sort of attacking itself with this internally led self-implosion. But it's important that we talk about these things. Strategy is not an option. We can't just go along to get along. We cannot ignore the bright neon elephant in the room. And we've got several elephants now shoved into the room. And we need to talk about them. We need to talk about the real reason for the priestly abuse crisis. It is not pedophilia. It is not clericalism. And we talk about the crisis of marriage, how fathers and mothers are also a product of their own parents' marriage. Priests and deacons and bishops, cardinals, they all came from families. So to strengthen the family, strengthen mothers and fathers, is another way of saying strengthening the culture. What is the culture? We talk about this all the time inside Coffin Nation. Culture is based on the Latin word cultus, which means to till or to cultivate. It's the same root for the word worship. So we talk about the cult of Mary. Cult, it doesn't mean, Jim Jones drinking poisonous Kool-Aid. Cult simply means worshiping. Whatever a culture worships, that's what it doesn't mean, Jim Jones drinking poisonous Kool-Aid. Cult simply means worshiping. Whatever a culture worships, that's what it doesn't mean, Jim Jones drinking poisonous Kool-Aid. Cult simply means worshiping. Whatever a culture worships,
atmospheric
that's
of what we call culture.
what
And
doesn't
right
mean,
now, our
Jim
culture
Jones
is
drinking
falling
poisonous
apart.
Kool-Aid.
Brothers
Cult
and sisters
simply
in
means
America are
worshiping.
going down.
Whatever a
American
culture
people
worships,
have
atmospheric
element,
that's
we know this.
what
We can say it's the
means,
greatest
Jim
country
Jones drinking
that God
poisonous
ever gave man.
Cult
Fine.
simply means
I
worshiping.
think America is great.
Whatever a culture worships,
as a legal immigrant,
that's a fantastic country. But Christ did not promise the Holy Spirit to be with America. He promised the Holy Spirit to be with the church. And so that's got to be our highest value. Our engagement has got to be with the world, but through the lens of faith. So Coffin Nation offers you 3 levels of engagement, so you do not feel alone, because you are not alone, in fact. And you and I are hardwired for clarity. We're supposed to understand things properly in their right context. We're supposed to rally behind leaders. We have to hold our leaders accountable. We have to be transparent. Now, the only way transparency works is if the leaders are transparent. And if they're not, we have to call them what they are, which is dense. There are lots of dense politicians, dense bishops. It has to be said. The lay people have got to take control of the process of change. The bishops in Baltimore voted to not lift a finger to investigate Uncle Ted, the homosexual molester, Theodore McCarrick. This is intolerable. So the lay baptized have to step it up. It's our duty and our responsibility. We have the duty under canon law, canon 212, section 2, to make our opinions known to our leaders. We have the right and duty as baptized Catholics. We're Christians who follow Jesus Christ as people who live the sacramental life. And according to the Second Vatican Council, that call to holiness is universal. I think Catholics in some way have identified the church with priests and nuns. Well, priests and nuns only occupy 1% of the church's population. The church would look pretty ridiculous without lay people. Can I hear an amen? If you're a baptized Christian, then it is your right and your duty to help purify the church, help tell the truth out loud, help to work for true renewal. And true renewal will never happen as long as we're telling half-truths or outright lies. So we can be that culture. This is an inside look at Coffin Nation. You can check it out, coffinnation.com. Before I get into what's included, I do want to mention that we're running a pre-Thanksgiving special. If you cut and paste, share the link on social media to the highest degree, the most number of times, you win buy one, get one free at the premium level. I'll talk about that in a moment. So tonight at midnight, that special Thanksgiving week offer goes away. Tonight at midnight Pacific time. That's the premium level, buy one, get one free. If you want to give it as a gift, maybe for your spouse, maybe for a good friend, a coworker, it's a nice thing to give as a gift. And give it to an enemy. Give it to someone with whom maybe they disagree with a lot of things that I'm saying and a lot of the guests that I interview and the commentary that I give. At least a conversation is started. We don't have to agree on 100% of all issues. You know, if you have enough in common with someone, you know, on the basics, on the essentials, then that's the basis of not only friendship, but on strategy. We have to reach out to people outside the faith. Jordan Peterson, excuse me. I think I might be the only person or one of the very few people who've interviewed him 4 times. He's not even a Christian. He's not part of the Catholic Church. My friend Eric Metaxas is going to be on the show soon. Yeah, he's evangelical, but so many people outside the fold are acting like insiders. They're rowing in the same direction. They're committed to the same basic cultural ideals. They believe in the renewal of self as a means to renewing the culture, and that is so important. One of my mentors is Dr. Peter Kraft, who famously said, "When a maniac is at the door, feuding brothers reconcile." So what do you get? What's in it for you? Well, there are 3 levels. There's the basic, the premium, and the ambassador. Everyone, starting with the basic level, gets the video iteration of the Patrick Coffin Show. Now, the show is now, because I'm not on terrestrial radio, I can make the show however long I want, or however long the guest wants to go as a conversation. No callers. It's a deep dive into one conversation, usually a really fascinating guest with a very pickable brain and a heart that's full of magnanimity and generosity. My interview with Milo Yiannopoulos, which is this week's guest, went almost 2 hours. And people seem that once in a while they like long form. I really like long form interviews because you can get some momentum going. You can go down several rivers and tributaries and really dive into one thing and cover it thoroughly. So you get the video iteration, the whole show. On YouTube, you only get 5 minutes. And then if people want to sign up this week to Coffin Nation, they can. This is a good time to mention that the doors close a week from tonight on the membership site. So the Monday after Thanksgiving, Monday, November 26th at midnight Pacific time, the doors close, and they're not going to reopen until next June. Now, why do I do that? People have asked me, why are you closing your doors? Shouldn't it be better service to people to keep them open 24/7 or at least once a month? The answer is not really. I do not want to be spending my time, energy, bandwidth, and mojo throwing sales and marketing traffic at what I'm doing. I don't want to be doing both. I want to be providing the wow factor for everyone who signs up. I want to be delivering high quality content for my members. So that's why we only open the doors twice a year. Again, coffinnation.com, go there, sign up this week. And remember, a lot of things are happening this week. So if you want to sign up today and you spread the word by sharing the coffinnation.com link on social media, whoever does that the most times wins a free. So you buy one, get the second one for free, the second membership. Good gift idea for your spouse, for your neighbor, for your friend, your enemy, what have you. Let me continue here, and then I'll turn to some questions. You get access, in addition, people at the basic level get access to the closed Facebook group. This is where you introduce yourself. Think of it as the oversized foyer of a medieval castle, the entryway, the big dining hall before you get into the rest of the castle. This is where you say hello, where are you from, what are you about, what's your faith tradition, What are your goals here? What do you want to get out of it? What do you bring to the table? What are you comfortable sharing? And we have a lot of laughs. The Facebook group is a lot of fun to go back and forth on the guests that happened this week, things that happen inside the premium level, which I'll talk about in a moment. Like-minded members. There's nothing greater, nothing more happifying, I just coined that word, happifying word, than to realize that you're not really living your life in a silo. There are hundreds, and after this, going forward, thousands of people like you who want to help you. If you don't remember the name of a book, if you want a movie or book recommendation, I do every fortnight, every 2 weeks, I do a book and movie recommendation. We have members who are experts in things I have no clue about. And it's such a joy to see people connecting and holding hands and linking arms and supporting each other inside the closed Facebook group. Also, at the basic level, you get a monthly live webinar called Ask Away Thursday. We talk about the issues and the guests and the topics and the themes that arose in the show. We talk about the things I talk about in Transform You, which I'll get to in a moment. And that's a freewheeling thing, sort of like what we're doing now, but it's an hour and a half. And it also gives a chance to people to meet electronically live during the session. Now, people have asked me, and my wife wrote me a note earlier to make sure I mentioned that next year, in 2019, we would like to have a meetup here in Southern California, somewhere south of Hollywood, north of Orange County, maybe a beach hotel with music and speakers and adoration, all kinds of just an eclectic experience for what we affectionately call Nationistas. So that would be great too. So that's coming up next year. Okay. That's the Ask Away Thursday. We used to call them Ask Away Fridays, but because I travel so much as a speaker, I do parish events, I do a one-night parish mission, I speak at men's conferences, I speak all over the country. I was just in Calgary, Alberta, and so I wasn't home in the studio here enough, with enough consistency to call it Ask Away Friday. So we're going to change the logo to Ask Away Thursdays just to keep it consistent. Transform You. Now, this is at the premium and ambassador level only. This is a monthly deep dive masterclass. I'll give you examples of some of the guests. Ken Davis, he's the founder of the SCORE Public Speaking Seminar. David Allen, author of Getting Things Done, The Art of Stress-Free Productivity. My good friend, Dr. Jordan B. Peterson, on how to edit your life through his self-authoring suite. Monsignor Charles Pope on how to stay calm amidst the chaos of the Catholic Church right now. Trent Horn talking about how to talk to atheists and agnostics. The number of atheists has doubled in the last 10 years. That's kind of a scary thought. It's still a small percentage, but anytime a population base doubles, that's a metric to pay attention to. This month's Transform You guest is Alexandre Havard. He is a phenomenal teacher of leadership virtue. And in fact, I think it's called the Havard Virtue Leadership Institute. That's his website. He's born in France. He lives in Moscow now. He speaks all over the world to CEOs and leaders and families on how to up their game. And we talk about his new book, which is called From Temperament to Character. So that's this Thursday. That's this month's Transform You. So these Transform You sessions also come with a Going Deeper workbook and a transcript. No, not the transcript. The audio as well. So that I always learn a ton. I'm the first person to receive the truth and the wisdom from these guests, so I'm learning alongside my members as well. Special discounts at all the levels. If you're an ambassador level, which is the highest, all my speaking events are free. I mentioned Coffin Report. Oh, no, I didn't. Haha, there we go. Yes, the Coffin Report. That's the other thing I wanted to mention. Somehow I skipped down there. This is a monthly commentary. I call it the 10,000 feet above the tarmac look at what's happening in the church and in the world through a Catholic lens. I wait till all of the horse pucky, all the errors of the first round of media coverage are settled, all the dust is kind of calmed down, and then we can look at things dispassionately, whether it's the hiring and firing on the part of Pope Francis, or the latest battle for the definition of marriage, or porn addiction recovery, or any of the church scandals. We've been hitting the church scandals a lot because we have to. I mentioned earlier that our motto is "We go there," because we believe that the most important truths of all sometimes involve some uncomfortable feelings. It's uncomfortable to talk about the elephant in the room. It's uncomfortable to tell the emperor that he's naked. But sometimes that is what we have to do. We have to go there without fear. The enemy of faith is not doubt, I always say. It's fear. And perfect love casts out all fear. So that's the Coffin Report. Special discounts on through discount codes through the store. If you're an ambassador level, you get into all my events for free. Maybe we can just climb further down here. This is some, if you go to coffinnation.com, you can see video testimonials of current members and why they join and why they love it and why you should. By the way, I don't believe the Coffin Nation is for everybody. This might not be for you. You have to decide if you want to go all in and learn connectivity and commitment and confidence. I like talking about confidence. It's a very important concept for me because the etymology of it, the word origin of confidence is confide, which means with faith. It's very similar in nature to courage. And courage, of course, is not the virtue of being brave and not feeling afraid. It's the virtue of feeling afraid, but doing the right thing anyway. So if you've ever golfed, what happens when a better golfer arrives in your foursome? Your game increases right away, right? Same with someone who's a duffer who never golfs at all. Your game kind of suffers. Well, if you have a community of people that come alongside you, who get you, who also want media mentorship, who want to grow in their faith as culture builders, Coffin Nation might just be for you. I mentioned earlier, I'll mention it again, this is a 1 week more offer. We're only doing this twice a year. So a week from tonight, that's Monday, November 26th at midnight Pacific time, the doors will shut and they will not reopen again until June. Tonight at midnight, after this hangout is over, whoever shares the link to coffinnation.com across social media, the most times gets buy one, get one membership for free, which is at the premium level. So I think that's a great gift idea. We're on the cusp, on the eve, if you will, of Thanksgiving. There's lots to be thankful for. Perhaps you know someone, maybe it's a spouse, husband, wife, son, daughter, uncle, coworker, someone who you think would benefit from getting access to hundreds and hundreds of people who think like you, who can finish your sentences, and who can provide the resources that you need when you run into trouble or conflict or challenge. Okay, there's also inside FAQs, frequently asked questions inside there. Maybe we can go to the prices too. Yeah. You can listen anywhere you want. So I mentioned the basic, $14.97 a month for the full video iteration of the show, start to finish, the Coffin Nation private closed Facebook group, the live webinar session called, as I mentioned, Ask Away Thursday. If you sign up for a year, it's only $120. That is 4 months for free, almost half a year off if you sign up for a year. Premium, which is all the benefits of the basic, plus the Transform You masterclass sessions, the Coffin Report, the awesome sauce, cool Coffin Nation heavy gauge, actual 3D etched coffee mug, and special discounts. So that's premium. If you sign up for a year, it's $350. That's 2 free months. Still a great deal. And our highest level of engagement is the ambassador. Those are for people who really want to support what I'm doing, who have the means and the ability and the will to support me with an extra special amount of support each month. And you get everything from the basic, everything from the premium. Plus, I do deep dives via Skype 4 times a year. You tell me what your issue is, and I will research it. And so I really want to respect your time. The people who give me their time, their attention, have given me their most important commodity. So I make sure there's not a minute wasted. Whether it's an uncle who's left the church, maybe you've got a spouse who's addicted to porn, maybe you've got someone who's a fundamentalist who hates the Catholic Church, maybe someone in your life who's come out to you as homosexual, maybe it's a question about the interplay between politics and law and culture in the church, whatever it is, just send the question, the topic ahead of time, and I do serious prep, and we have a great conversation at the ambassador level. Now, I'm not a trained therapist, I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist, I'm not a certified marriage counselor, so what I do, I like to put a pause there, otherwise I'm saying do. What I do accomplish is I send you resources. I tell you where to go in a good way. I point you to where you need to go. Authors, DVDs, movies, programs, websites, speakers, leaders, writers. I do have a wide array of background. I'm a very eclectic person. In fact, I always like to kid that my specialty is eclecticism. So that's another thing that you get with the ambassador level. Plus, every one of my speaking events, no matter how large, no matter where it is, you get in for free. So I do parish missions called Ignite. I do men's conferences. I just got back from a Allentown conference in PA for men, a spiritual combat conference, and I love it. So ambassador members never pay anything. And so you get 1 free month off if you sign up for a year. So that's an overview of what the levels of engagement are. The FAQs are still available there. Go to coffinnation.com. You can watch the trailer. You'll know if this is for you. You will know, I think based on what I'm saying now in the trailer, if this is something that you're gonna get a lot out of. The reason I only do it twice a year is that I wanna work on producing high quality content. I wanna get to know you. I wanna spend time inside Coffin Nation Facebook page. I wanna contribute. I wanna hear where you agree. I love hearing praise. I love getting affirmed. Yes, I certainly do. I also like people who don't agree on certain things. I don't expect you to agree with every single jot and tittle of what I lay down. That's certainly the case when I learn from my mentors. I'm not 100% lockstep with them, but that's okay. On prudential things, good Catholics, Christians, and others are free to disagree amicably, and we do. We have some healthy debates inside. There are different strategies for getting where we need to go. The point is connectivity, commitment, and confidence. Those are the primal needs that are met inside Coffin Nation. Those are the 3 core values: connectivity, commitment, confidence, and guaranteed, 100% guaranteed. If you're not really happy, you can change your level of engagement, or you can quit. I won't come after you saying, "Why'd you leave? Please come back." I understand what budget means, and if you feel that this is not something that's providing you with the wow factor, you're not going to be happy inside. I really want you to be happy. So we have happy Nationistas inside, and we want to keep it that way. It's 1 click away. Just click out, and we wish you well, and I'm sure you'll profit and blossom wherever you end up. But I want to mention that we have 100% satisfaction guaranteed on inside Coffin Nation. I hope you don't. You don't need emails, no apologia, no good Dear John letter. You can just squirrel away. Now, mercifully, those are few in number. We have a very high retention rate, and our members are really starting to really care about each other. We've been there 6 months, and this door open, which I mentioned earlier, closes a week from tonight. You can see the friendships building. One of the things my wife and I do is we lead pilgrimages to holy sites like the Holy Land, Italy, and in 2020, Germany. We're going to go see the Oberammergau Passion Play. And those pilgrimages become the site, the wheelhouse, if you will, of lifelong friendships. And that's already happening inside Coffin Nation. So you never know where you're going to travel. We have Coffin Nation, Nationistas in Japan, Australia, the UK, Canada, all across the United States. So it's so wonderful to, if you're going to be in their hometown or city, get together, raise a mug, have a glass on our behalf, and send a picture. That'd be great. We'd also like to have a meetup. We would like to get together here in Southern California in 2019. We'll have a meetup, maybe a hotel by the beach, maybe a place where you can come and let your hair down, or if you're bald, shave your bald, whatever. What do you do if you're bald? Do you let your hair down? You can raise your eyebrow if you're bald. No judging. Music, speakers, a time to connect in person. Because we believe that cyber community is better than nothing, but this is why meetups are important, to be in the same room with people. I'd like to maybe turn to questions. What do you think? A lot of them. So that's an overview. I'll do one more pass at it. Yes, I mentioned that. Yeah, members from all over the world, multiple countries. Hey, Kevin Robbins. Hola, Luis Rocha. Hello, sending your greetings. Lupita Morante, Mary Artunes. Please, by the way, I love being corrected on names. Names are very important. So if I'm mispronouncing your name, please tell me. Rui Duarte Andrade Adao. Wow. The bishops and cardinals should listen to you, Patrick. You have more common sense than they do. Good. Well, thanks, but I wasn't ordained to be a bishop or a cardinal. I'm just a lay Catholic baptized guy with a microphone and an ability to communicate half decently. I do want to use my influence, however, to encourage our leaders to be men. We need leaders who are a little bit more dangerous, a little less safe, more manly, more willing to take the gloves off. We are at war. If you don't believe we're at war, you're already on the wrong side of the war. It's not just a political war. It's not just a cultural war. It's a spiritual war. The battle is against not flesh and blood, but principalities and dominions, spirits of the air. So it's fundamentally a spiritual battle. We need our guardian angel. We need Saint Michael the Archangel. We need the Blessed Mother, the Queen of the Angels, and her Son, our Lord Jesus Christ, if we're going to win this battle. Because it's really his battle. We're just participating in it. Isabel Allende, thanks for daring to ask Milo the hard questions. Yeah, Milo was very compliant. He started off kind of like in a fighting mood. Milo's so used to high conflict interviews that I think it took him a while to kind of calm down and have settle into a real conversation. And I credit him for being vulnerable. This is a guy with tremendous gifts, tremendous courage, and wounds. We all have wounds. But Milo doesn't make any bones about his own, and he doesn't want to live kind of a double life. And you can see him kind of working through things. And I had a really terrific conversation with him. Had some pushback. Some people were very, very unhappy that I interviewed Milo. Some people like to reach out to lepers and pariahs, people on the periphery, as Pope Francis would say. But some lepers are not created equal. And there's a certain kind of Catholic that just does not like Milo. They want him quarantined and shamed and just put out of the spotlight altogether. Well, obviously I don't agree with that. So thank you for the kind words, Isabel. Number 29 watching. Hello, Eric Bursey. Carl Strello, thinking about it, just concerned about the fluctuating Australian dollar to the US dollar. By the way, Carl, I will be interviewing at some point in the next few months Archbishop Julian Porteous, whom I count as a friend, the Archbishop of Hobart in Tasmania. George Cardinal Pell, I've interviewed on Catholic Answers Live, and he also endorsed my book on contraception. So I have a special affection for Australians. I would love to go to Australia. When I was growing up, the people who lived below us in Halifax were a lovely couple called the Coulthards. They're from Melbourne, and I just grew up, learning about the didgeridoo and koalas and just all the things that have to do with Australian culture and music and pets and so on. So I would love to go to Australia. Oh, was that me dropping? Did you hear the sound of that? That was a hint being dropped. Okay. Carl, you're a good man. So thanks for being there from the land down under, in the land of tomorrow. Eric, yeah, you keep changing from 28 to 27. I'm not sure what's going on there. Isabel says, I'll stop if you stop criticizing the Holy Father. Well, Isabel, yeah, I don't think it's going to be for you. I don't criticize for criticism's sake. I call things by their right name. And I've been slowly red-pilled about the leadership of Pope Francis. And I wish I could apologize for it, but I can't. The people he's promoted, the people he has demoted, the weaponized ambiguity in almost every single one of his documents, the impromptu interviews at 35,000 feet that add way more fuzziness than clarity, his refusal to even address the claims made by Archbishop Viganò. This is just intolerable, Isabel. You can have a different opinion. I don't mind. I don't think Coffin Nation is going to be for you, and that is perfectly fine as well. I never want to be all things to all people, so that's fine. Yes, down to 24 and watching, Eric. Keep it up, man. Voon Nguyen, hey, Patrick Coffin, how are you? I might like to have back a guest that I've interviewed on Catholic Answers Focus before. His name's Jeffrey Shaw, who wrote a book about how the Vietnam War started. And the inciting incident of the Vietnam War is the murder of President Ngo Dinh Diem, the first president of the Republic of Vietnam. He was killed on All Saints Day, 1963, by the CIA. And 22 days later, John F. Kennedy was killed, probably by the same cabal. We don't know. It's a subject of conspiracy theory, and that will be debated for centuries, probably. But it's called The Lost Mandate of Heaven. I always I love my Vietnamese brothers and sisters. We live here in Orange County, where there's a lot of Vietnamese people who came across in 1975 as boat people. So I recommend that book, Vu. It's called The Lost Mandate of Heaven by Jeffrey Shaw. Okay, truth. Okay, guys, see what happens with divisiveness? The Vicar of Christ is supposed to be a symbol and a manifestation of unity, not division. Unity. Stan Lee, I never left my fans. Stan, thanks for inventing Spider-Man. I'm sorry that you're dead. I hope you're doing well. I'm glad you're showing up here, Stan. All that, Marvel universes that you created. A grateful nation salutes you, sir. Okay, Google account, 97 cents. Thank you, Google account. That's beautiful. Anan Denomanium. Anan, what's your weird question? Oh, here it is. Does Jesus value Mary more than he values us? That's a very interesting question. Does Jesus value Mary more than he values us? I think, well, first of all, there's no Catholic teaching on that, but I think from the light of natural theology and from what divine revelation gives us, I think you can say that in a certain applied sense, biologically, at the level of nature, Jesus has a particular special love for his mama that he does not have for me, because I and you, neither of us gave the word flesh. The blood that coursed through his veins, the blood that he shed on the cross, did not come from me or you. And in a sense, it didn't even come from the Heavenly Father. It came from the Blessed Virgin Mary. So of course, Jesus would have a special love for his mother like no one else. And that's fine by me. It doesn't mean that Jesus, has some inferior form of love or some, jaundiced, broken love for you and I. But sure, his mother, remember, he's the word through whom she was created. The Father conspired from all eternity. She's to create Mary. She's the world's first love. Now, it is the teaching of the church. You can read this in a wonderful book by Frank Sheed called Theology and Sanity, in which he makes the point that in the order of grace, Christ is closer to us than he is to his mother in the order of nature. Through baptism, I'll say it again, Christ is closer to us through grace of baptism on the supernatural level than he is by nature being the natural son of Mary. That's a really profound thing to chew on. And it really brings home the fact that that Christ did not die for only one person's sins. He died for everybody's sins. And everyone is given enough grace to answer that call and be saved. But not everyone does. I'm going to be interviewing Dr. Ralph Martin soon on his magnificent book, Will Many Be Saved? It's very popular now to assume that maybe we can hope that hell is empty, which I don't think can be squared with Catholic tradition nor the teaching of Christ. So I hope that helps, Anand. I like interesting questions like that because they make you think about other things, foundational things. Okay, gonna just skip on past. Yes, I'm with Carlo Maria Vigano as well. So am I. I think he's a true hero, a real lover of Christ and his church. And Jose Rivera, how are you, sir? Nice to see you. Joseph Clark. Thank you, sir. Thanks, Joseph. Host more debates. Yeah, I'm open to debates. When I was on Catholic Answers Live, EWTN didn't really want debates. I would love that. I would love to do live events. I would love to sit down and broker a debate between, I don't know, two foes. I'm wide open. So thank you for that. Let's go down. Chicken Nugget, Eric. Good to see you, Chicken. Fantastic. All right, guys. Let's move back here. Google account asks, Patrick, will you interview Dr. Taylor Marshall about the current church crisis? Yes, Dr. Marshall and I are going to be sitting down in December, if maybe a little bit before then. We haven't quite worked it out. I think it's going to be December, and that's certainly going to be part and parcel of our conversation. I have a lot of respect for Dr. Marshall. I'm going to be on the show this coming Wednesday, by the way, with Tim Gordon. And we're going to talk about masculine identity in Christ and the fact that the way that bishops have bungled things and the crisis of leadership in the church is really a crisis of fatherhood, a crisis of masculinity. So yes, that is certainly going to happen. Do we discuss indulgences? Not really, Eric. Sorry, Google account. Indulgences, if asked, I do Catholic apologetics, but it's kind of an arcane thing. I want to talk about the basics. I want to talk about the things that we have in common. If someone wants to talk about indulgences, that's sort of like going into the realm of calculus with people who are just struggling with the multiplication table. So that's that. Yeah, I go to daily mass whenever I can. I think daily mass is a tremendous grace. I don't go 7 days a week literally, but I highly value the times that I go off the required Sunday. I think it's a great way to grow in your faith if you can do it. Charity for all, Eric. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Ma'am, sir, Jose. See, I don't know which gender, which sex Google account is. So you're hiding behind your handle there, my friend. Alan says Archbishop Vigano is inconsistent with his letters. Okay, Alan, that's your opinion. I've read all, I think, 4 of them. I don't see the inconsistency, but I'm not his PR department. I'm not his defender, so you're free to think that if you want to. Cardinal Pell, Claudia, yes, he's under investigation. An accusation that's decades old got thrown up again just when he's making serious progress in financial reform areas in the Vatican with the Vatican Bank. I find the timing of his exile back to Australia to face these charges to be very interesting. He doesn't put a lot of varnish on it. He's a very straight-talking leader. He's he's a former rugby champion guy, so he's a real man, and that ruffles feathers. And some people don't like men who ruffle feathers. I don't know. I'm not on the jury. I'm not part of any kind of grand jury inquisition here, so I can't comment on guilt, innocence. But I do note that the last time I checked, you are innocent until proven guilty. Yes, yeah, Tim Gordon is now, by the way, Point Vicente. Tim is the co-host with Taylor. They do a great job together. Okay, who should the next Cardinal of Washington be? No idea. If I was the Holy Father, I'm not, I would put in Monsignor Charles Pope. He would be my #1 pick to be the Archbishop of Washington. He's a priest of the diocese. He's the best priest blogger. He is balanced. He is sane. He has vast pastoral experience. He's got serious theological chops, and he's just a wonderful man. He is the pastor of Holy Comforter St. Cyprian Parish in Washington, 80% African-American congregation, so lots of praise the Lord, lots of clapping, but he also celebrates the extraordinary form. So my pick would be Monsignor Charles Pope to lead the church in Washington. Amen. My lips to God's ears. Okay, I hope he doesn't see this because he may not agree with me. Be very, very difficult to take over from Cardinal World, to say the least. Carl, thanks. It'll cost me $163. Well, welcome aboard to Catholicism. April 15th, that's a great day to come into the church, as you know. Carl, I would love to hear, and maybe on the inside, why you joined the church. This reminds me of a really funny book by Joanna Bogle. Joanna Bogle is a UK-based London journalist, and she has a book that's geared to Anglicans who are thinking about crossing the Tiber and becoming Catholic. So it's sort of like Pat Madrid's Surprised by Truth series. So it's essays, kind of a compilation book of essays. And the book is called Come On In, It's Awful. Sort of a frank, candid assessment of how screwed up the church is now. The bride of Christ has a serious virus. And we're not going to get anywhere if we keep pretending there's nothing wrong and we can't say anything negative or no matter how truthful about our leaders. So that's one of the things that when I say we go there, that's one of the things that we do. Okay, so the screen went black here. Let me see if I can get her back up. All right. Here we go. Okay, so that's my pick. I'm always interested, Carl, in conversion stories, especially during times of crisis. I remember interviewing an AP reporter named Tom Breen, who was away from the church. He lived in Connecticut, and he was covering the Boston Archdiocese sex abuse scandal back in 2002. Now, here's a lapsed Catholic covering the worst, well, it was a PR disaster, first of all, but more importantly, it was a tremendous loss of faith, the destruction of lives, the creation of victims, unbelievable torment the church went through back then. And Mr. Breen, in interviewing the victims and their families and the priests and some of the people in the diocese, he came back to the church. Totally counterintuitive. There was something about interacting with holy Catholics. Now, we're all imperfect Catholics, but the bride of Christ herself is holy because Christ makes her holy, even though individual members of the bride are sinful in themselves. It's one of the great mysteries of the one holy Catholic and apostolic faith. Okay, like the stream, 3 videos to Coffin Nation from different show segments, okay? Yes, Carl, I love the Latin Mass as well. I'm very friendly with the FSSP community. I love Latin prayers. In fact, I'm going to be doing more prayers in Latin. I'm going to be interviewing he's actually in the Hall of Fame of MMA, mixed martial arts. His name is Bas Rutten. Bas Rutten is a monster mixed martial arts fighter who had a massive conversion. And he prays a lot of prayers in Latin because he knows it makes the devil angry. Language is the mother church tongue of the Catholic Church, and the rite of exorcism is only valid if it's pronounced and executed in Latin. So I love to learn more about Latin. I love the Latin Mass. I love beautiful Gregorian chant. There's just nothing quite like it. So I'm a big fan. So Carl, great to have you. Great to have you. And if you do this, the pitch, the sharing on social media, the most time, I'll throw a second one at you for free. So buy one, get one free. That ends tonight at midnight, my time. Yes, Portugal's caught on to the liberal Catholicism, not very impressed. Are you in Portugal, Rui? Because I've been to Fatima and I'd love to come back. I've interviewed Matt Fred already, Google account, on porn addiction recovery. I've been on Matt's show as well, talking about whether the Pope should resign. So yes, I'm a big Matt Fred show and a fan. I'd like to have Matt back. We're just kind of plotting what would be a really good topic to talk about. Point Vincente. Oh, ever considered going to the Argument of the Month Club? Great discussion at AOTM. Is that Alpha and Omega regarding Americanism? Yeah, tell me more. Yeah, that's an idea. I'm always open to ideas, and I think Argument of the Month is good. You know what they say? This is something my good friend Scott Hunt told me. The good borrow, the great steal. So if it works, why reinvent the wheel? Chicken Nugget asks, do I foresee an African pope taking the papacy in the near future? I pray that people stop talking about Cardinal Robert Sarah of Guinea. There's an old Latin saying in English, it's he who enters the conclave with a white hat comes out with a red one. In other words, it's invariably the case that a cardinal who's a front runner, the one that everybody's talking about, the one that he has the buzz, never gets elected pope. It's just this strange quirk of papal election history. Now, I would really, what would I do if it's announced that the next pope is Robert Cardinal Sarah? I would probably cry. I would probably be so overcome with gratitude to Almighty God if he sees fit to raise one of these great African shepherds who do not have these strange taboos against going there, being politically correct. They're not interested in any of that. By most, I mean 99 out of 100 African priests and bishops with whom I've interacted have been super solid. I've interviewed Bishop Oliver Dime, whose parishes are getting attacked to this day in northeastern Nigeria by Boko Haram. Boko Haram is it's a homegrown subset of ISIS and Al-Qaeda. He is I think he's a mystic. He's also extremely courageous and a beautiful soul for Christ, totally given over to Christ and his church. I've had many conversations with Francis Cardinal Arinze, the prefect emeritus of the Congregation for the Celebration of Divine Worship and the Sacraments. And I've never met Cardinal Sarah, but I'm going to continue to ask his secretary for an interview. I'd like to talk about his book, Dieu ou rien, God or Nothing, The Power of Silence. So that was a long-winded way of saying I would love an African Pope. If the Lord put an African Pope in all African curia, that would be awesome sauce. Okay. Fantastic. Carl, welcome aboard. I look forward to introducing you to all the other members. You know, come into the closed Facebook group. There's a video tutorial on how to join. I have a new Australian, Carl Australia, joining. Fantastic. So Rui, you're 6 months in Portugal, 6 months in New England. Great. We'd love to come back to Portugal. I'd love to go to Fatima, maybe Fatima Lourdes.
A little sneak peek.
Yeah, Isabel, I agree. I think Cardinal Pell is a scapegoat. I can't prove it, but all the signs point to these are trumped up charges to get him out of the Reformation business. Father Mike Schmidt has something to say about MMA. Oh yeah, so do I. I think mixed martial arts might be immoral. I think boxing might be immoral. I want to bring this up with my guest. I don't want to do puff pieces where it's just like Father Mike Scanlon, my former boss at Franciscan U, the late great Father Mike Scanlon used to say, most Catholic shows, it's like, it's a game of like, who can stroke harder? Yes, yeah, I agree. Wonderful, wonderful. I find that incredibly boring. So I want to, I don't agree with all my guests, and I think it's really fake to pretend that, you just need to throw flowers at each other. I don't think that's a very interesting conversation.
Sneak peek into the inside.
At all. Yep, we will. Okay, I want to get to the bottom here. Yes. I have a great respect for Cardinal Rinze. He's a very beautiful soul. He was actually baptized by Blessed Michael Tanzi when he was 8 years old. So he's got quite a backstory. I have interviewed Father Mike Schmitz, Kevin. Yes, he's not a close friend, but I have a lot of respect for him. We talked about his book, Made for More. Father Mike and I have shared the stage at a Catholic Answers conference in Glenwood, Minnesota. So I'm familiar with his stuff. I'm a fan. He gets it across in a very effective way, I think. Satanism is definitely on the rise in pop culture. I'm going to be interviewing one of America's top exorcists soon, Father Gary Thomas, on the satanic influence and aspects of the priestly abuse crisis. And we're going to talk about the increase of Satanism and Wicca and all kinds of stuff online as well. So, okay, let's do a quick dive inside Coffin Nation, just sort of a quick peek. We will bring draw the curtain aside to give you a sneak peek. So in addition to the coffinationcom, the main page there, you can click on the trailer. It's only 2 minutes long or so. Inside, there's me with my super classy fedora. If you notice, my logo incorporates the fedora. I love the idea of fedora values. And by the way, just a reminder for folks who've just joined us, this offer, the membership offer to join Coffin Nation, ends a week from tonight at midnight. So if you're thinking about it, a lot of things happen this week with Thanksgiving here in the States. Join today. That's the way to do it. And make sure you're in. If you join today before midnight and you share the Coffin Nation link, the most times on social media, we give you a whole membership for free. So buy one, get one free. That ends tonight at midnight. That's the premium level only. I'll talk about what premium level means in just a sec. We'll kind of review it. I did it once, but we'll take another dive.
So sneak peek.
So here's a sneak peek. So let me move out of the way here. There's the main page where you join the next live session. Watch the bit of a time gap here. I'm sorry. Yeah, so you can watch the tour video, which gives you the access to the show. Now there's 4 levels, 4 different sections: the Transform You Masterclass session, then the full video iteration of the Patrick Coffin Show, which comes out every Tuesday, the Coffin Report, and I think there was another one. I mean, could you go down to the 4 things again? Oh yeah, access to the community. That's the Facebook closed community. And then going further down, I'm trying to follow you here. Going further down, there's a big time gap here, honey. Very frustrating. Yeah, I can't see it. It's 5 seconds behind. So there's an example of some of our, there's Trent Horn, How to Talk to Atheists and Agnostics.
I'm going to transform you.
Yeah, well, let's go to Transform You. Okay. how to stay calm amidst the crisis. By the way, I mentioned my pick for Archbishop of Washington. That's him, Monsignor Charles Pope. Yeah, I would love to see him lead the church in Washington. How to speak with clarity and power. That's my good friend Ken Davis, evangelical Protestant, who's the co-founder of SCORE, the public speaking conference that he co-founded with Michael Hyatt 30 years ago. Dr. Jordan B. Peterson, editing your life story. He has this amazing program called the Self-Authoring Suite. This month's Transform You guest is Alexandre Havard, who is a French-born Russian. Now he lives in Moscow. He writes books on virtue and leadership. We're going to talk about his brand new book on, get this, from temperament to character. He's done this deep dive into the 4 classic Greek temperaments: phlegmatic, sanguine, which is me, choleric, which is partly me, and melancholic. How those 4 classic Greek temperaments need the virtues to perfect themselves. How do you avoid the underbelly, the sort of the weak link of each of those temperaments? All temperaments come with pluses and minuses. And it's basically the biological way you are. It's the nature that you have, your basic preferred way of operating in this world. That's Alexandre Havard. That's this week's, which is coming Thursday. Okay, continuing down. The Coffin Report. We do monthly commentary from 10,000 feet above the airport to look at trends, things in the news, what Pope Francis just said or did, what's happening in the world of politics and cinema and drama. We talk about firearms, Second Amendment, free speech, political correctness, thought control, exorcism. There's nothing that happens in the news that we don't hit. The scandal, we talk about, we have captured media clips from all sorts of news sources that you're not going to find anywhere else. And it's all in one place. The Coffin Report happens once a month. And we talk about things no one else wants to talk about. We talk about the fact that U2, in addition to sort of imploding as a mega band, did a shout out last year in a concert near Washington to their old friend Cardinal McCarrick. I wonder how many people know that Uncle Ted McCarrick, the homosexual molester, is a longtime friend of Bono, the U2 frontman. We talk about Ireland a fair amount. Ireland is sort of a canary in the coal mine with respect to Europe. You'll love my interview with John Waters on what the bleep happened to Ireland. So this is just an example of the Coffin Report. Also, Ask Away. Every month we have this Ask Away Thursday live session, which is a webinar, something like this, where we zip in and out of content, we answer questions, and we talk about the things that appeared in the show or in Coffin Report or in the Transform You. So there's an example. Yeah. So these are people's comments inside. We have a lot of fun. This is supposed to be fun. You send your questions in. You can join by YouTube, by Facebook, or by the website. There's 3 avenues into the Ask Away Thursday. It said Friday there. The reason we changed it to Thursday is that I'm on the road too often as a speaker. So to keep it consistent, it's called Ask Away Thursday. Not that important, but in addition to what?
Addition to walk and talks.
Yeah, I do walk and talks on the weekend, various aspects of apologetics. Every 2 weeks, I do a book review, book and movie picks, they're called, for members only. So if you're an avid reader, as I am, if you love movies, as I do, you can see them there, shacking up. I love to, once in a while, I'll put a kind of a clickbaity, controversial sounding title to get people's attention, which is a great thing to do as well. I hate boring titles. I hate boring movie and book titles. So the book and movie picks that I give, the recommendations that I give, are based on my many years as a screenwriter. I was the first graduating alumnus of Act One, Writing for Hollywood. I produced and co-wrote a film. I'm working on another script, so I love movies. I eat and dream them. I've been watching 2 movies a week for 20 years, and I'm also an avid reader. I'm a tragically slow reader, but I love to read. So I put into your hands the books and the movies that can really change your life. The books and movies you should read before you die, in other words. Call them the bucket book list, along with movies. Okay, so again, coffinnation.com, that's the place to go to sign up. This opportunity is not going to knock for a long time. A week from tonight at midnight, This is the Monday after Thanksgiving, Monday, November 26th. The doors to Coffin Nation close. I'm not reopening them until summer 2019. So for those who are wondering, why do you keep the doors open only for these 2 weeks, twice a year? The answer is really simple. I want to be providing high quality content. I want to be getting to know you, your preferences, your worldview, your premises, your likes, your dislikes, what you're struggling with. And that's the wow factor I want to deliver to my members. I don't want to be spending time doing sales and marketing, spending money with ads, throwing attention at what I do. That's going to suck up so much bandwidth, it's not even funny. I just want to be delivering what I promise as the founder of Coffin Nation. I want to make my Nationistas really happy. We're planning a meetup for next year, like here, here in Southern California, with music and talks and maybe a beach fire. Fires are very sacramental. We love getting together as a family. We have 2 fireplaces, indoors and outdoors, and that might be a good thing to rally around, Nationistas. Coffin Nation is across the United States and Canada. We're in 3 or 4 different countries. You join members from all over the world. How great it would be to travel to a different country and meet up with a fellow Nationista. You can raise a glass with our cool swag as well. So remember, doors close next Monday, November 26th at midnight. You can quit at any time. This is a satisfaction guaranteed. If you want to quit, you're 1 click away. Now, we have great retention rates. Most people come and they stay. They realize they're all in. This is something that helps them grow, something they can get fortified when they're talking to their friends and relatives who have left the church. Maybe they know someone at work who's hostile to our holy faith. There's nothing like connecting with someone who's better at explaining the faith than you are. There are thousands of people who know more about theology than I do, who are better, more effective apologists. I don't have very much to teach them. But there are thousands, millions who know less, and that's not good enough. So we all keep each other accountable. We are growing confidence together. We are honest with each other. Not all members agree with everyone else. That's fine. We have amicable debates, and mostly it's in a spirit of friendship. So I'd love to see you on the inside. Satisfaction guaranteed. You're 1 click away from quitting if you want to walk away. I don't chase you down the block and ask you why you quit. Sometimes it's a budget decision, but most of the people who join stay and are happy. And with this second launch, the first launch being 6 months ago, our membership's going to expand and, God willing, explode. The need is so great for connectivity and commitment and confidence. The culture has become so unspun, so crazy, so unpredictable that we need each other more than once, more than ever. And it becomes more and more important to go there. That's our motto. We go there. We have souls to save, but it's not just spiritual. We don't just talk about prayer. Prayer is important. It's necessary, but prayer is not sufficient. We have to work. We have to get out there. We have to put in effort. We're not going to engage people simply by spending time on our knees. Catholics especially do not believe that faith alone is the way we get saved. The word faith alone does appear. That phrase is in the letter of James, chapter 2, verse 22. But it's preceded by the word not. So works do have a role in salvation. They also have a direct role in culture building. We have to engage people outside the faith who have lots in common. We have to grow in our ability to engage people at the level of debating and friendly conversations, even if we don't argue. In fact, my motto is don't argue. You're not going to win the argument. In fact, my mentor, Venerable Bishop Sheen, my spiritual father, once famously said, it's possible to win the argument and lose the soul. Nobody likes a smarty pants. So we're not about arrogance. We're not about triumphalism. We're about intentional discipleship. And maybe it's a few other questions. Maybe we can end with that. Yes. Father Tom Weinendy? Yes, I'm a big fan of Father Thomas Weinendy. Father Weinendy is a Capuchin Franciscan. He's a Thomistic scholar. He was the former head of the U.S. Bishops' Committee on Doctrine. He is a super brain, very humble man, very beautiful soul, and very courageous. He wrote a letter last year privately to Pope Francis, only 2 pages. You can look it up on the internet. No response, no response, no response. And if you read Father Weinandy's reasons why he went public with his letter, you'll understand how grounded it is in spiritual discernment. And the day he released his letter, that it was made public, Cardinal DiNardo fired him from his place inside the USCCB. So yes, I have a lot of respect for Father Thomas Weinandy. I've been reading him for many years, and one day, if he's open, I'd love to have him on the show. So thanks for bringing him up. Yes, Arinze. Yes, mortal sin. Imagine a cardinal talking about mortal sin. Indeed. Yes, Rui, did you hear the interview with John Waters? John Waters writes like a dream. He's just a great. Some of the Irish writers are so great, and he's one of them. He has a daughter with singer Sinead O'Connor, who's now getting a lot of attention, saying that she's turned into a Muslim. But John is a playwright and a journalist, and he writes a lot for First Things. And he has a new book called, I think it's called Give Me Back the Bad Roads. So there it is. I don't know who Mark Detroux is. I don't know about the Franklin cover-up. The Finders No Google account. These are all unfamiliar to me. Yeah, Bishop Fulton Sheen, he is just fantastic. Yes, Saint Benedict, Ora et Labora, right? That's right. Thank you, Rui. Yeah, faith and work. You can close your eyes, and if there was a stack of Bishop Sheen's 60+ books, and just went, that book will change your life. If you pick another book, it'll change your life for a different reason. He's truly a prophet. And he was not just the TV star guy walking with his full regalia and the chalk. He was a scholar, and he has a way of bringing together all kinds of disparate sources into one place. Really a genius. I love Bishop Sheen so much. Cardinal Zen, if you know how to connect with Cardinal Zen, that would be a dream come true. I would love to interview Cardinal Emeritus of Hong Kong, another really courageous man. That would be great. Rui, it's an honor to have you. If you can join, we'd love to see you on the inside, Rui. Either way, keep in touch. Yes, I've got a bunch of people who want to connect with Dr. Peterson. At Phaser, there's a lot of people who would be natural conversation interlocutors, let's say. Anthony Esselin would be one, Dr. Christopher Kaiser, Bishop Barron. There's a lot of people who would like to, get into the ring, so to speak, and have a conversation. I went full Catholic with Dr. Peterson. He may not want to revisit that again. He's got a lot of people asking him the same questions over and over and over and over again. He's also surrounded by a lot of Orthodox Christians, I think. He has a lot of friends who are Orthodox, like my friend and guest, Jonathan Pajot, is an Eastern Orthodox carver and artist that you can find him in the archives at patrickcoffin.media. So yes, Fulton Sheen's canonization is definitely held up. There's a dumber than dumb fistfight over his remains. I hope Cardinal Dolan changes his mind, because Bishop Sheen needs to go back home where he was first ordained, first incarnated. His family, his living niece, Mrs. Cunningham, wants him there. It's just ridiculous. So hopefully that will get sorted out. Yes, well, there's lots more we could go. I want to make sure that I mention one more time the cool swag, all the benefits inside CoffinNation.com. Again, this enrollment opening ends a week from tonight. So Monday, November 26th, midnight this time, Pacific Standard Time, that is, the doors will close. So if you want to sign up, join today. If you sign up tonight before midnight and you share CoffinNation.com the most times, you get a whole membership at the premium level for free. So share this link, subscribe to my channel. We'd love to see you inside Coffin Nation. Again, our tagline is we go there. At the end of my show, I say what I'll say now by way of thanking you for participating, for hanging out. You get a little taste of what our Ask Away Thursdays are like. I hope it's been enjoyable. We have a blast and a half. We laugh. We share a lot of emotional stories, small victories, baby steps. And one way to describe the micro is to say macro and vice versa. So getting pointed out here.
Bishop Wall.
Bishop Wall.
They wanted you to do a shout out to Bishop Wall.
Oh, a shout out. Yes, Bishop Wall. Yeah, Bishop James Wall is in the house. Good man. He's a buddy of mine. He's he's got a savage sense of humor. If you hang around him long enough, you realize how dry his sense of humor is. He's the Bishop of Gallup, New Mexico, a very holy bishop. So pray for Bishop Wall, pray for Bishop Strickland, Archbishop Corleone, Bishop Thomas Paprocki, Bishop Daly, Bishop Liam Carey, a lot of the really solid men who just knocked it out of the park in their interventions, their talks at the U.S. Bishops meeting in Baltimore. Our bishops need our support. They need our love. They need, above all, our prayers. So, again, CoffinNation.com. Go there. Check out all the bennies and the perks and the trailer. It's only 2 minutes long. So, thank you so much for joining us. In the meantime, be a saint. What else is there? See you on the inside. I know I'm able to find the off button. I'm certain of it. Wunderbar. Yes, so I'll see you on the inside of Coffin Nation. This is Patrick Coffin signing off for now. I do hope to see you. Take care, be aware, and happy Thanksgiving, everyone.